it seems like they really want to make that fight happen, and I know why, because we both are guys that we really come to fight and we always put on a show. So I'm looking forward the best I ever been and be like in my prime, in my peak, and I'm looking forward for this fight. I know this fight has everything to be a big performance. Maybe we both get a bonus of performance of the night. I hope that we both gonna be in wheelchairs, all fucked up and laughing that we just had a walk, because I know that that is gonna be a big show for the fans and everyone is gonna love to watch this fight.
Okay, so you've got a huge fight coming up in the UFC in Baku, Azerbaijan. Tell me a little bit more about this upcoming fight and how you're feeling.
So it's a big fight. I'm feeling really good, and every time I came to Bangtao, like the first time I came after I had just won a fight in Vegas, and I came here because all my friends always told me very good things about Thailand. Then I came to Bangtao, and I felt that even though I was only in vacation, I got in one of the best shapes I've been in my life. I felt great. I felt really good. We have everything in one place. We have everything we need to get ready for a fight, for MMA fight. I went back to the United States. I always felt like I wanna come back, and George told me, you're gonna come back one day, you're gonna move here. And I came back and I just got this fight in Baku. I'm gonna do my whole camp here and we're gonna go chase another win. I'm coming from 2 wins. It's my first winning streak in the UFC, and I'm really excited. And every time I came to Bangtao, I felt that I could be on my best. So I'm looking forward to be the best I ever been and be like in my prime, in my peak. And I'm looking forward for this fight.
So you mentioned that you switched up camps and you've come to train with us and you're becoming a really good part of the team here at Bangtao. You know, you get to train with training partners like Bruno. I see you training and getting coached by Brad Riddell, who also has been in the UFC like yourself as a UFC athlete. But you've actually had a lot of fights in the UFC, and you come from the Dana White Contender Series, correct?
Yes.
Do you feel like every fight you're getting more mature and you're really starting to become more comfortable and build this momentum to work towards the title one day? Is that the goal?
Oh yeah, for sure. My first experience with the UFC was in 2015 on the Ultimate Fighter, the UFC reality show, and I was only 21 years old. And then I didn't make it to the UFC. Then I moved to America, did a couple fights. Then I did Dana White Contender Series, got to the UFC, and my debut was against the guy that had the record of most UFC wins in history, and he had like 37 UFC fights, and it was my debut. And someone told me that debut's hard and stuff like that, and I was like, no, not with me, but really was. And in the UFC it's a different world, so like we need to have actually like that is our record and that's the UFC record. So like when we get to the UFC it's a different level, and I think that I face more hard competition than Azim, and I respect him, and he's a tough opponent. He never lost in UFC. It's the second time that I got offered to fight him in the UFC, because the last time I had an injury and I couldn't accept the fight. And it seems like they really want to make that fight happen, and I know why, because we both are guys that we really come to fight and we always put on a show. And I'm looking forward that this is going to be a great fight to watch. And if it wasn't myself fighting, I definitely wouldn't miss that to watch that fight, because I know that that is going to be a big show for the fans and everyone is going to love to watch this fight, because I think it's going to be a great fight to watch.
How do you feel you can win this fight? What is if you had to make a prediction or your path to victory, how do you see the fight playing out?
Yeah, so when you talk about my experience that I learned it from winnings and losses, and so long I've been fighting and so many UFC fights in UFC, and I learned that we cannot be predicting things. We gotta like do our best to prepare and see his strengths and weakness. And when the fight happens, I have to adapt and I have to adjust and I have to feel what's going on, because sometimes you can study the guy a lot, but in the fight night everything can happen different. So we have to adjust and be focused on that moment. And I learned that I don't need to be so focused on the results, and I have to be more focused on putting in a good performance and putting in fights that everyone's gonna love watch, and that's what those big promotions want. They want like big performance. They want to see you putting on a show. Of course, it's very important to win too, but I know this fight has everything to be a big performance. Maybe we both get a bonus of performance of the night. I hope that we're both gonna be in wheelchairs, all fucked up and laughing that we just had a war.
Awesome, man. Thank you, bro. That's awesome.